to another edition of In the Crease podcast brought to you by Baptist Health. Back inside today, a little blustery out there as we go through a little bit of a spring storm here. But Coach, glad to be back here in the Rock Lacrosse Center talking with you. You know, tough one, really a game up at Richmond, really one quarter difference. Boys were extremely impressive in that first half, keeping things tight and, with a high-powered offense in Richmond. And just give us the recap on that game real quick. We talked about after the game. It was really just one quarter that got away from us there.
Yeah, I think we came out with a little bit of jitters. I thought we were a little bit too excited about the game. We failed our first 3 clears, and it really just came down to catching and throwing. And I think we watched that film and took a step back and just recognized that our biggest opponent still seems to be ourselves, and we just have to trust ourselves a little bit. I think there's often times in games we just get a little panicked, and there's times and moments in practice where you see this high level of execution, and for whatever reason, those big games have gotten the best of us. So excited at the fact that it's not May 8th, and it was an opportunity to learn from that. And I think, really this could be one of the best things that could happen to us and allows us to really reflect and be critical of each other and go back to work this week against a big time opponent.
Were there any positives you could pull out of that game, with what went well?
Yeah, a ton. I think just to not have a huge face-off advantage, to not have a huge possession advantage, but to defend the way that we did. We defended till the end of clocks. We gave up a couple man-up goals, a couple transition goals, but when you break down the game, defensively in the box, we were actually pretty good. So man on man, I like that matchup. And offensively, I think we're really critical of what we did, how we executed. But defensively, I think there's a lot of positives to take from.
That's great. Now, looking ahead, we'll get into the game itself here in a second against Bellarmine, round 2. Bellarmine also here at Davey Milne Field, but it's senior day. Big group of guys we're going to recognize this weekend. 17 names. Some are going to end up coming back, some won't. But want to make sure we recognize those seniors for the work they've put in with this program. Just speak to that group a little bit. Big group.
Yeah, it's a big group. It's a really unique group. It's made up of guys who are graduating in 3 years, guys who transferred in, guys who have been with us for 4 years, guys who just came in for their 5th year. So that group sounds really big. Like you mentioned, a lot of them will be back, but anybody who's going to be walking the stage will be honored this weekend. And, it's hard to imagine, to believe that, I got here 5 years ago. For some of these guys, they were here on the first day of campus when I arrived. And to have a chance to be able to go on that field one more time with them, it's guaranteed that's going to be the last time we're on that field together. And we're really, I think we're a little bit more urgent at practice. We're cherishing those moments a little bit more this week, knowing that, we're under 10 now. And all of a sudden, that starts to hit those guys differently. But guys like Brett Riley and Jack Goodwin and, our new guys, Connor Shears and Matt Stagnita, guys that are their college lacrosse expiration date is coming. We're just trying to really enjoy the moments we have left with them.
And then getting into the game itself, how much do you try your best to put aside the very lopsided result to begin the season? Because most certainly Bellarmine, we are a different team than we were in that season opening game. I'm sure Bellarmine is too.
Yeah, I think in lacrosse, the transitive property does not exist. For a great example, this past weekend, Bellarmine plays Cleveland State, and they beat them 8-1 a month ago. Cleveland State did. And they come in again, they play the same game, same team, same players, and they lose 11-4. Bellarmine wins. So, that the game of lacrosse is so fluid. You're not going to get the same result when you play a team twice. So that game was our first game. It was a Wednesday at 12 o'clock. They have an entirely new attack unit, entirely new face-off unit. So we're expecting a totally different type of game. They're on a 2-game win streak. And this is in conference. This is when you're playing for extra days together as a team. So every game in this conference is a battle when it counts. And I expect and assume that we'll get the best version of Bellarmine on Saturday.
Yeah, big postseason implications on the line here. Like, to stay at 1 loss as we start to whittle the field down here, like, just how important is that as we look ahead a little bit?
Yeah, it's huge. We talk about climbing the mountain, and even though you trip in one of those steps, you still have to continue to get up and climb. It's really important for seeding. It's important for the opportunity to earn extra days together. A win this Saturday would guarantee us another week together. And there was a time here when I first got here and where you were kind of holding your breath based on other results on the last Saturday. And the fact that we have the opportunity to clinch that opportunity this weekend at home for our seniors, 4 more days together, there's a lot of, again, a sense of urgency within our locker room.
What needs to go well, based on what you're seeing from Bellarmine now, putting, I'm sure, some game film from the first time around down there, but Nathan Kapp was epic on the dot, and there was a lot of impressive performances there. But we have a different attack unit. We have a different person in goal. There's a lot different going on. So what have you kind of identified needs to go well for success?
Yeah, it starts with the face-off game. I think that we did have so much success that day, and they have revamped how they face off. You're going to see 3 poles up there at times, and they've just created this really anarchy at the face-off and really in between the lines. And we're going to have to handle that pressure, and that's something we started working on yesterday. In the riding game, they're going to 10-man ride us every time. And again, if you don't find success early on, you put yourself in a position where you're playing a little bit of catch-up. And then offensively, I think, again, just going back to the Richmond game, getting back to really purposeful movement. I think that's really the message we've tried to share with those guys is you can't just expect that things are going to happen watching the play. You have to be a part of it. You have to be 1/6 of the offense, and that's something we're working on this week.
Love it, Coach. We're looking forward to it. Anything you want to leave us with on the way out?
No, I mean, obviously, last time on this field with those guys, last time putting on that white jersey, you don't, unless you play sports, I don't think you realize how shocking that is when you hear that. And, everything is the last now. It's the last Monday morning practice. It's the last team meeting in the film room. It's the last Friday pregame on the field. College lacrosse has an expiration date, unlike most other sports that you'll play past this period. And I think our guys are all starting to see that now, and I just hope a lot of people come out and have a chance to pay their respects to these guys who have done an amazing job for us over their career.
Exciting, Coach. We're looking forward to it. We'll see you out there, and best of luck.
I appreciate it.
Another episode of In the Crease podcast brought to you by Baptist Health.
Thanks.